Hi, this is Sister Ebony. Now, please excuse the muffin bonnet. I'm letting my afro rest until Mother's Day. I just want to take a few minutes to say Happy Mother's Day, and I mean that to everybody watching. Now, I know some of you are not mothers, some of you are men, and in fact, some of you are non binary. But stick with me, I have a word for you too. When I say Happy Mother's Day, it's because I know some of us on Mother's Day need to be reminded to look for reasons to be happy. Now, don't get me wrong, we usually have beautiful weather on Mother's Day, and we get to take the time to love on and remember some of the greatest blessings in our lives. But Mother's Day can also be rather painful for people like me, whose mom is now in heaven for at least for almost 5 years now. And there are others who have been struggling with infertility. There are some who are caregivers who, even though it's a holiday, you're not going to get a break or the recognition or the help you really need. There are so many reasons to not look forward to Mother's Day. Because let's be honest, all of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And so there are some mothers who have some things to regret. There are also some children who weren't cared for the way they should have been. But stick with me. I think God has a word for all of us. The first thing I want to remind you is that there are people all over the world who are praying for you. Two things that God has told us to do on occasions like this one is to rejoice with those who do rejoice and weep with those who weep. You can be sure that for those of you who are celebrating this day, there are people all over the world who are celebrating with you. We're happy for you and we are enjoying your joy. But you can be just as sure that down here on earth and in the heavenlies, there are spirits and there are believers who've gone on before you who understand that you are not as happy as you should be this day. And we are sitting with you in your grief. We will listen while you remember that loss. And we will hold you while you cry. That's what we are supposed to do as the body of believers. And there's people all over the world who are doing just that on this day. Now, with that said, the second thing God tells us to do is this. He tells us to comfort those around us with the same comfort we've been comforted with. God has done great things in my life since my mom passed away, but there are still times when it's very painful. And I have to take my time. I have to give myself a little grace. I have to extend mercy to the people around me. I need to get extra rest and continue to take care of myself. And I need to reach out to God for his comfort and prayer. And when it's really a long day, I ask my husband to take me for a walk. I get a little sunshine and I ask people to pray for me. I encourage you to do the same thing. And we're also going to take time in our service to do that. The other thing is this. God shared something with me years ago. I don't have children of my own. But in Isaiah 54, God tells us in the first 8 verses that he will be our husband. And if we trust him, he can make our children outnumber the children of women who've given birth. Believe it or not, that's a promise he's kept since the beginning of time. And you know what else? For those of us who have other difficult memories on Mother's Day, he promises something else. He promises, and King David cited it in Psalm 27, verse 10, that when my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will take care of me. In fact, Jesus did just that when he was standing looking over Jerusalem. And it's my favorite example of how he takes care of us. He said that he longed to gather the inhabitants and citizens of Jerusalem, just like a mother hen gathers her chicks under her wings to care for them. God's been doing that since time began as well. And let me share something else with you. God has given us examples from history and in his word of childless women that he has used greatly. Because every woman that God creates, he creates them just like every human being. He makes them fearfully and wonderfully. That means he respects them and he makes them with dignity and worthy of respect of others. Not just that, he gives them the ability to give birth to ministries and to great works because he is their king. The thing is this, everybody God creates has the ability to create something great as well. And you don't have to be gender binary to do that. All you have to do is be obedient to him. And you have to be obedient to him and willing to let him transform you by the renewing of your mind. Let him make you a new creation, and he will bring glory to himself through you. Let me show you some of the examples he used to do that. Queen Esther and Corrie ten Boom are two women that God used, two childless women that God used to save people from genocide. God used the prophetess Deborah and Harriet Tubman to lead mighty armies to victory. More recently, God used Rosa Parks, who also was childless. He used her passion and her reputation before blacks and whites in Montgomery, Alabama, to ignite and to start and to ignite the civil rights movement from which we all have benefited. And more than that, God used a virgin in the Bible, Mary, to send the second part of the Trinity, God the Son, to earth. And through him, every one of us has the opportunity to be saved from the penalty of sin and death for all eternity. She was a single woman too, single and childless when he first used her. Now, Mary and Esther didn't stay childless, but when God used them the greatest and then shared it with us, they were. That's why we can be happy on days like today. I myself have that testimony as well. I have been an auntie. I've been a godmother. I have 17 officially, and I've blabbed and grabbed about 6 more. Not to mention, I've been a teacher in 2 states. And from that, I have a student in North Carolina who adopted me and my husband as his parents. And through him, I have 8 grandchildren and 1 on the way. And I believe God's also going to use me as a foster mother and hopefully adoptive mother sometime in the future. God is still using me as a teacher and a counselor. And I hope that encourages you because it encourages me. God is faithful. He never fails. And he always keeps his promises. That's why I can say what J. Moss said on his album. There's a praise on the inside that I can't keep to myself. It's one of the reasons I'm really going to be happy tomorrow on Mother's Day. And I share that with you. Have a happy Mother's Day. For it is the day that the Lord has made. And he's going to give you reasons to rejoice and be glad in it. I hope that encourages you.